Hi guys, I did a video breaking down the month of May and talking about all of the transits. Now let's take some of the most important ones through all 12 signs. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer. If you're new here, please subscribe to my channel, leave me a comment or a like. Very much appreciate it. And if you'd like to work with me and book a reading, there's a link down below. I am currently doing a special for all people born during Taurus season. You get 20% off 60-minute natal and solar return, which are predictive readings. So take advantage of that. And before I dive into the horoscopes, if you'd like a personal horoscope that includes all of the main transits and it includes your personal transits, you can DM me on Instagram or email me for that. But thank you for being here, and let's talk about all the signs. I'm not going to look at every single one. May is super busy, lots of things happening, but we will look at some of the most important ones, including Mercury retrograde and Jupiter entering Aries and lunar eclipse, so like a few other things too. So if you are an Aries rising, for the most of the month until May 20th, Sun is in your second house. And we just had a solar eclipse in your second house, implying big new beginnings when it comes to your finances and values. Maybe you're finding a new job. Maybe you're finding something that gets you excited and gets you kind of like going and makes you feel more confident. Venus will enter Aries, your first house, on May 2nd, and will stay in Aries until May 28th. So this is lovely for just coming across as more charming, being able to draw the support of others to your side. You may find yourself spending more money on beauty procedures like getting Botox or cutting your hair, upgrading your wardrobe, and do that. This is a perfect time for that. May 10th is a really big day. Jupiter enters Aries, your first house. You get to shine from May 10th until October 28th, a longer period. And then it repeats again from December 20th until May of next year. So Jupiter goes into your first house. You get more energy, you get more drive, more ambition. You embody that Jupiterian energy of becoming a teacher, becoming a guide to others, becoming a source of inspiration. And you may choose to start a lot of new projects. And those projects are likely going to involve dealing with other people and inspiring them. However, at the same time, Mercury stations retrograde in your third house and slowly goes back into the second. This retrograde is going to last until June 3rd. And Mercury retrograde in the third house might bring breakdown of certain technology, challenges to your schedule, things you need to adapt to, maybe, yeah, like, you know, taking care of your skills, realizing that there are certain things that you're not quite, you know, ready to pursue. So if we go with that Jupiter and, you know, Sun, the solar eclipse in the second house, you are pursuing new money-making ideas or starting to express yourself differently. And Mercury retrograde might just be the time of like looking at your skill set. Do you know everything that you need to know? Do you have all of the tools needed for that? Do you need to plan financially better? If you have, let's say, some kind of major goal to buy an apartment or to start a business, maybe you need to plan for it and set some money aside. So definitely exciting times, but Mercury retrograde asks you to proceed carefully and not rush to make big decisions, because it's likely you will have to look at things from a different angle. On May 15th, Sun in the second house will square Saturn in the 11th. So Saturn in the 11th basically Sun square Saturn is kind of like a delay to things you're trying to achieve. So whatever you are either spending money on or, you know, making money from, you will likely have to proceed with care. And there might be certain difficulties that you have to deal with. Like maybe you have to talk to your boss about something. Like if you're starting a business, for example, you need to talk to them about allowing you to take a day off. Maybe they say no, and then you are required to pivot. Don't be too caught up in your view of reality or in your view of the way things should be. The more flexible you are, the better results you get. This is basically the theme of the month. On May 16th, we have a lunar eclipse in Scorpio in your 8th house, and it squares Saturn in the 11th house. So this eclipse has the potential to be quite challenging emotionally for all of us. For you, it's happening in the house of debts and taxes and joint resources. So there might be something you're letting go of. Maybe, maybe if you were like involved in a court battle with someone, this might be the time this is like wrapping up. If you've been in business partnerships, maybe it's the time that you are closing that. There might be major fears or realizations connected to death and connected to your fears of like trusting other people. Might be certain things bubbling up that you have to address. 8th house is very transformation oriented. So even though there are some fears and tough emotions, it's likely that you will feel cleaner after you allow them to pass. Like, spend some time crying. This could be a great time. May 20th, Sun enters Gemini, your 3rd house, and then on the 21st, it conjoins Mercury. 3rd house still is the realm of skills and hobbies and ideas. So we're still kind of continuing that, whatever it is the solar eclipse was about, financial undertakings, sense of self-worth, investing in oneself, building confidence. This solar ingress into your 3rd house and then Sun conjoining Mercury may bring new insights. It may bring an understanding about certain business matters or your schedule, or how do you have to adapt your life in order to fit your vision. There might be some news or there might be important conversations you need to have. On May 24th, Mars enters Aries, your 1st house, and will be there until July 5th. Mars is very strong in Aries, so even more focus on taking action and stepping up and taking center stage. Mars will conjoin Jupiter on May 29th. So this might be a very important day for you. Don't hesitate to create your own opportunities. Don't hesitate to, present your ideas and work on your own, because the more courageous you are, the more risks you take, the more payoff you can get from it. May 27th can be a bit tricky. Venus in the 1st house will square Pluto in the 10th. And, Venus in the 1st is your goals, your desires, your appearance, your freedom. But Pluto in the 10th is a conflict with someone in power. It could be a parent, it could be a boss. With all of this stuff happening in your 1st house, it's likely you're excited about some kind of personal initiative, but then Venus squaring Pluto will make you face this obsession that you have, and whether it is truly authentic to you, whether it's worth pursuing, and whether it's worth like certain sacrifices. Basically, how far are you willing to go? And be careful with acting too ruthless and, uncompromising. For Taurus rising, there's a lot of focus on the sector of identity, with the Sun being in your 1st house until May 20th. We just had a solar eclipse in your 1st house on April 30th. So it's likely you are embracing the role of a leader, embracing some kind of mature role, embodying becoming a source of new beginnings, right? Maybe you're starting a business, maybe you're starting a podcast, and it's likely you're feeling energized. North Node is in your 1st house. You may feel like you're becoming the true version of yourself. Don't be too stuck in the way you want things to end up, like in the way you see the final result. The more flexible you are this month, the more you're willing to like pivot and adjust and compromise, the further you'll go. May 10th, Mercury stations retrograde in your 2nd house, and then backs up into the 1st. At the same time as Jupiter enters Aries, your 12th house. So Jupiter entering Aries is very just do it energy. It is happening in your 12th house. So some of your focus may be brought up to working on your own, working behind the scenes, devoting time to spirituality, doing work that helps people somehow, doing work that is spiritual, that deals with healing others. And at the same time, as you may be getting excited about pursuing certain things, Mercury stations retrograde. And Mercury stations retrograde in your 2nd house. So the topics of money. And then it backs away on May 22nd. It goes back into Taurus, your 1st house. Whatever you are excited about, whatever the theme of this eclipse is for you, the new projects you're starting, you may need to look at your money, your financial situation. Is it valuable or is it rational, right? Like, will it bring you money? Do you need to be more careful? Do you need to have a financial plan? Do you need to talk to a financial advisor? Do you need to kind of like put some money aside? Be careful spending money at this time, because sometimes when you spend a lot of money during Mercury retrograde, turns out that, you know, you sort of like have to go and pay some more. Or it can also be the time where you make money and then Mercury goes retrograde and you have to spend money. But avoid making like big impulsive purchases, because Mercury goes retrograde and maybe you have to return it, or Mercury goes direct and you realize that you're not as excited about this pink bike as you were excited, as you felt in the beginning. May 15th, the Sun in the 1st house will square Saturn in your 10th house. So your personal projects may get tested by your boss, for example. There might be certain challenges and delays to your personal initiatives, and you are encouraged to persevere and, you know, be careful and work slowly and not like freak out. Because the more dedicated you are to the task at hand and the more patient you are, the more you can get out of it. On May 16th, we get a lunar eclipse in Scorpio. This lunar eclipse has the power to be emotionally challenging. It is happening in your 7th house of relationships. So with all this excitement about personal projects, there is a chance that you have forgotten or you have neglected your partner. Maybe you haven't given them a lot of attention. Maybe the partner goes through some kind of crisis with the solar eclipse. Perhaps, you know, they're dealing with some kind of challenging situation and you're called to be kind of kind to them and dedicate some time to their situation. And it might be tough for you to balance and, you know, not sacrifice your goals, but also not neglect your partner. There might be certain secrets that you have to face in a relationship, certain challenging events that can either bring you closer with your partner. It's not, you know, nothing is a verdict, or it can bring endings to a relationship, especially if relationship feels like it's already not doing so well. If you are in a strong relationship, if it's meant to last, it's going to last. So don't take it and don't panic, basically. On May 20th, Sun enters Gemini, and then on the 21st, it conjoins Mercury. So we got Mercury Cazimi, Mercury gets reborn, new beginnings, exciting realizations. 2nd house is the place of finances. It's the place of values. So this conjunction may indicate getting exciting new ideas about making money. It can also be insights about what makes you feel worthy and valuable. And also maybe just an understanding about balancing things, like balancing your personal goals with your partner's feelings and desires. On May 24th, Mars enters Aries, your 12th house, where Mars will stay until July 5th. It's going to conjoin Jupiter on May 29th. So pretty big energy when it comes to 12th house matters. And 12th house deals with letting go of any self-defeating tendencies, perhaps learning to believe in yourself more. It also deals with spiritual pursuits, therapy, astrology, foreign lands, journeys to foreign lands. So you may see new beginnings in that sector of your chart. Also, just like feeling very inspired to work on your own. 12th house deals with imagination. So maybe you are seeing a new reality and you're getting to act and pursue things that you're excited about. Watch out for overdoing it in the entire period of Mars in Aries, your 12th house, from May 24th until July 5th. Sometimes Mars in the 12th means sleeping issues because you're just so excited and your mind is like going. So try to balance it out with working out and taking long walks or taking baths before you go to bed. On May 27th, we have a bit of a tough energy. Venus in the 12th is going to square Pluto in your 9th house. So you may have to deal with certain, there might be a need to pivot, a need to adapt, because Venus in the 12th, like, you know, both of these houses deal with like ideas and your mental health in a way. So maybe you are taking it too far. Maybe you're working yourself too hard and you need to readjust and you need to slow down. There might be ideological battles. There might be conflicts related to travel, publishing, legal matters. If you are in a relationship with someone foreign, or you are in a long distance relationship, this could be a bit tricky. The question is, how far are you willing to go, and whether your pursuits make you happy or they take away from your peace. For Gemini risings, the sun is in the 12th house until May 20th. So you would have had a solar eclipse in the 12th house on April 30th, and 12th house deals with your imagination, the place of sitting alone with your thoughts and creating something. It's also the place of spiritual things and your mental health. So solar eclipse would have brought up new beginnings in that sector. Maybe you're letting go of your self-defeating beliefs and you're taking action. Maybe you're serving others. Maybe you are opening a yoga studio, right? There's a lot of different possibilities. You may need to spend some time alone. It might be better for your well-being to kind of retreat, relax, go on a trip with your partner and just like take a break a little bit before things pick up. And definitely allow yourself to do that. On May 10th, Mercury stations retrograde in your 1st house and Jupiter enters Aries, your 11th house. So Jupiter entering Aries in the 11th house is very much new beginnings when it comes to social media, and also excitement about working with groups of people, finding your crew, people who are on your side, your fans. 11th house very much is about the fans. So you're ready to take action. You're ready to be like, here I am, look at me, here are my ideas. They deserve to be seen, noticed, and appreciated. But at the same time, Mercury stations retrograde in your 1st house and then backs into the 12th house. Mercury will be retrograde from May 10th until June 3rd, and is going to enter your 12th house on May 22nd. Mercury in the 1st house, Mercury retrograding in the 1st house, is an indicator that something about your appearance, something about your presentation, your brand, your logo likely needs attention. So maybe, you know, you feel dissatisfied with the logo and you need to upgrade it. Maybe you feel unhappy with your wardrobe and you need to change it. So there's things that you need to reassess about your look, right? Your look or your brand or your personal initiative. And it's okay to take things slow. Mercury retrograde is not the time to rush into things. That might be tough considering Jupiter is in Aries and then Mars goes into Aries on the 24th. But you really don't want to be reckless. You want to try to be careful and patient. On May 15th, the Sun in the 12th house will square Saturn in the 9th. You may run into issues that are out of your control. You may get tested. It may also be not necessarily connected to your projects that you're pursuing. but maybe connected to travel matters, to legal matters. Like let's say you're waiting for a visa and your lawyer messes up. Or if it is connected to your pursuits and it's about the logo, people who are, or like, you know, it's about business cards, like people mess up your business cards and you sort of need to be adaptable. And Sun square Saturn is a testing time, but it's also not the time to give up. It's the time to continue to persevere and to work hard, be patient. May 16th, we have a lunar eclipse in Scorpio, your 6th house, squaring Saturn in the 9th. This has the power to be quite a challenging eclipse for all of us because the moon is in its full in Scorpio, and so it can be emotional. It can bring a sense of catharsis and release and letting go in your sector of health, work, service, and problem solving. So maybe you're letting go of a job, maybe you're closing a really tough project. There might be a bit of a sense of like, you know, this is no longer satisfying. What am I working on? I have these ideas, because the solar eclipse is in the 12th house. It's the projects of your imagination. It's your spiritual projects that make your soul happy. So with the lunar eclipse in the 6th, there may be like certain crises in your daily life that you have to address and maybe readjust so that you have more time to pursue things that you actually enjoy pursuing. Make sure you're not just, you know, sacrificing your well-being for the sake of the work project, because it's likely not going to make you happy. And you know how work projects go, they just never end. So you want to try and maintain some of that balance. On May 20th, Sun enters Gemini. That's exciting. It's your 1st house. You will get a boost of energy, more opportunities to be in the spotlight and present your ideas, step up, be seen. And then the Sun will conjoin Mercury on the 21st. Mercury Cazimi. There might be insights, there might be deeper understanding about your brand and how you want to present yourself and how you want to proceed. So this is kind of like a turning point, a big moment of understanding. Good news might come your way. So definitely a time to look forward to. On May 24th, Mars enters Aries, your 11th house. Mars will be there until July 5th, and it's going to conjoin Jupiter on May 29th. You become the leader of the men. Well, 11th house is social media. It's your network. It's people that are watching you as followers on Instagram. It's people that are your clients, even if they don't know about that yet. So you have a lot of new ideas. You have bravery to go out there and to put your flag on the moon. So do it. Be brave. Be courageous. On May 27th, Venus in the 11th house will square Pluto in your 8th house. So this could be tough. Venus in the 11th, right? Like all of these desires, the desire to work with a group, the desire to be seen, will square Pluto in the 8th. So you may have to address certain challenges. You may have to face unhealthy dynamics in your group relationships. Are you giving too much and not getting a lot in return? There might be challenges around money, resources, time, and also watch out for being too obsessive and too kind of like, you know, stuck on the idea and the vision that you have in your head, to the point where maybe you are not listening to the advice of other people. This is kind of like you're encouraged to listen to other people, to come up with new agreements and maybe find common ground that will do you more good. For Cancer risings, the Sun is in the 11th house, your place of networks, friendships, social media, until May 20th. There just was a solar eclipse in this house for you, so there would have been new beginnings connected to new friendships, new group projects, new initiatives that deal with social media, maybe even just like major hopes and dreams. You feel like you're venturing on this new adventure that might require you to socialize and build new relationships. And there might be a lot of excitement about like what's ahead for you. What's this next journey going to be? On May 10th, quite exciting. Jupiter will go into your 10th house. Jupiter will bless your sector of career. There is the time for you to become a teacher, to take center stage, to share your wisdom, to present your ideas. Jupiter in Aries is very much just do it energy. However, on the same day, Mercury goes retrograde in your 12th house, and then it slowly backs into your 11th house. So with Mercury retrograding in the 12th house, it's likely that, yes, you feel excited about your career and about all the things that you can do professionally, but at the same time, you are needing to be careful. You're needing to maybe be cautious and kind of like come up with a plan, because you cannot express yourself fully. Mercury retrograde in the 12th house can just like bring up past traumas, insecurities about your ideas, uncertainty about the future. And then it slowly goes into your 11th, right? So maybe the answer lies in talking to a friend, talking to a counselor, talking to a mentor that you have, someone in your network who has been there before. Could be a lovely time for therapy for all Cancer risings. But yeah, like Mercury retrograde is just a sign that there are new beginnings in your career, because Jupiter will stay in Aries until October 28th. But don't rush. Take it easy. On May 15th, Sun in the 11th will square Saturn in the 8th. So that will be a bit of a testing time, right? Sun has been in your 11th, solar eclipse is in the 11th. It's all the same story. It's all these group projects, your role in the collective, your role in the company. And then it squares Saturn in the 8th. So you may get frustrated about financial matters. Maybe there's certain debts you have to pay, real physical debts, financial debts, or more tangible debts. Yeah, like, you know, or agreements you have with other people. Maybe other people are not honoring them, and maybe they're blocking you instead of helping you. So you will need to take care of these agreements you have with other people, of the debts, of any miscommunications before you proceed. Saturn really wants you to be patient and proceed with care and kind of, you know, persevere. On May 16th, we have a pretty tough lunar eclipse in Scorpio in your 5th house, and it's going to square Saturn in the 8th house. So with all the action in your 11th house, with all these plans and all of your pursuits in the outside world, trying to establish yourself and put your flag on the moon, there's a chance that something in your personal life will demand attention and will kind of call you to take care of that, and call you to compromise, and call you to maybe reassess what's worth fighting for and what's not worth fighting for, because you don't want to overdo it, right? You don't want to just like go in the direction of the 11th and completely forget about the 5th, which is your personal joy, your romantic relationship, your relationship with your child. So as you're doing all of this, there might be certain challenges happening in the life of your child, in your romantic relationship, in the creative project. So you will need to be adaptable and, you know, kind of like patient, and maybe try to find balance between things that you want to achieve and things that need your time. On May 20th, Sun will enter Gemini, your 12th house, and is going to conjoin Mercury on May 21st. Gemini season might be a bit quieter for you. There might be a strong pull to get some rest, take a break, travel a little bit. The conjunction with Mercury on the 21st could be quite interesting, because it's the 12th house. Things in the 12th house are less tangible, and it might be that you're getting very much like intuitive messages. Maybe you like see a dream that is important. Therapy can be very kind of helpful at this time and can bring you interesting messages. Definitely talking to a friend or talking to a therapist could be a good idea around this time. On May 24th, Mars will enter Aries, your 10th house, setting your house of career on fire. There is more desire to act. Mars will be there until July 5th, and it's going to conjoin Jupiter on May 29th. May 29th can be very significant and very kind of successful for you. You are taking center stage, you are presenting new ideas, you are getting what's yours, right? There's a lot more energy. You're more competitive, you're more brave, you're taking risks and going after things that you deserve. On May 27th, there might be a bit of a challenge in your relationship with Venus in the 10th house squaring Pluto in the 7th. Maybe you've been too focused on your professional gains and your future pursuits that you didn't give your partner enough attention. And this will be the time when you will need to question how much do you truly cherish this professional goal, right? And how much do you value your relationships, and how can you find more balance? So be careful around that time, getting into conflicts and dealing with drama. For Leo risings, the sun spends most of the month until May 20th in your 10th house. And we just had a solar eclipse in your 10th house. So you are on the path of new beginnings professionally. And these new beginnings are kind of the theme of the month. There's a lot of back and forth and trying to figure out what's next. Word of advice, try to be flexible, because where you think you're going might not be where you're going to end up, the place you're going to end up in at the end of the month, which is basically advice for everyone. But make sure you're being flexible when it comes to your career and not just getting too caught up in your view of the way things should be. On May 10th, Jupiter will enter Aries, your 9th house, where Jupiter will stay until October 28th. Jupiter in Aries is very much create my own opportunities. Just do it. Masculine, active, risk taker, push, go for it right now, knock your head on the wall kind of energy. And 9th house deals with travel, education, legal matters. So this is where you will feel a lot of desire to explore and expand and take on more. So maybe, if we're dealing with the professional matters, maybe that's the place where at work you kind of try to embrace and take on a bigger role that actually shares knowledge with other people. At the same time, on May 10th, Mercury stations retrograde in your 11th house. This retrograde is going to continue until June 3rd, and it will end in your 10th house because Mercury slowly backs into your 10th house. So retrograde in the 11th house could be very much about the future. And yes, you are excited, and yes, you are on this path towards new things, but perhaps the way you used to do things doesn't work anymore. 11th house deals with your network, your mentors, your social media strategy, your plan for the future, connections you have. So it's likely that you're going to have to sort through people in your life and perhaps, rearrange things a little bit and maybe ask who can help you reach your goals. Who is a good example, who you can talk to that can provide some insights. On May 15th, Sun in the 10th will square Saturn in your 7th house. So there might be tests and challenges coming from your sector of relationships. Maybe you are so interested in these professional goals, but your partner isn't. Maybe it's your business partner. Maybe you have kids and they require your attention. So there might be tensions. There might be, and this is not a new story. You sort of dealt with this all of 2021 because Uranus would have been squaring Saturn. So it's a little bit of a familiar energy. You are required to remain patient, find compromise, and not just like push your agenda. Focus on the long term and try to balance your career with your relationship. On May 16th, we get a challenging lunar eclipse in Scorpio in your 4th house, and it's going to square Saturn in the 7th. So new beginnings, exciting things happening in the career, right? And then at the same time, your house of home and family may experience some kind of challenging things. It doesn't have to be anything dramatic, but like it could be as simple as, pipes bursting in your apartment and you need to address that, and maybe you're freaking out a little bit because you have an important project due at work, or your family member is having a crisis and you need to give them some of your time. So There might be, it might also be like, you know, fourth house deals with comfort and security. So there might also be a little bit of addressing family karma and looking at, you know, facing your fears, about stepping outside of your comfort zone and pursuing new things. So try to find balance between your professional goals and your home. On May 20th, Sun will enter Gemini, your 11th house, and it's going to conjoin Mercury on the 21st. This is great for your networks, for your friendships, for your social media. There might be certain insights, maybe new strategy, new plans, new supporters, good news when it comes to dealing with people on social media, or even some kind of networking opportunities are quite likely here. On May 24th, Mars will enter Aries, setting your 9th house on fire. It's going to stay here until July 5th, and it will conjoin Jupiter on May 29th. A lot of action, a lot of courage to expand your world, take on more, study, travel, publish your work, present your work, take on some legal matters, maybe even write something, teach people, right? Become a source of insight for others. But be careful getting into heated ideological debates, because this just reads like very much, I know what I'm doing and I'm in charge and you shut up. So you want to be careful with that. On May 27th, Venus in the 9th will square Pluto in the 6th. This can be ideological debates. This can be a testing time when you are kind of trying to balance your desire for new responsibilities, for expansion, versus your duties to others. There might be conflicts at work connected to documentation and legal matters. There may be travel delays, quite literally, you know, maybe you are supposed to go somewhere and then you don't feel so well. And just be careful this month of pushing yourself too hard, because it's likely that if you do run into some kind of trouble, it's because you've been overworking yourself. For Virgo rising, the Sun spends most of the month in your 9th house until May 20th. And you just had a solar eclipse in the 9th house on April 30th. So we are picking up fresh on that energy. 9th house deals with travel, education, legal matters, publishing. So you may have, or you are beginning new things in that sphere of your life. Publishing a book, applying for a visa, applying for citizenship in a new country, moving, learning, starting to teach, starting to become like a coach or a guru for other people. And this month is very much about that, but there will be some challenges, especially in the middle of the month. May 10th, Mercury will station retrograde in your house of career, and it's going to slowly back into your 9th house, the sector of education. So retrograde starts on May 10th, lasts until June 3rd. And we're going from the 10th into the 9th, right? So certain confusion when it comes to work matters, uncertainty about your future path, uncertainty about getting to where you're going, and then needing to maybe get additional education, maybe consult a lawyer, maybe take a trip somewhere, find a teacher, a mentor, might be some of the themes of this retrograde. At the same time, Jupiter will enter Aries, your 8th house, on May 10th. And Jupiter will stay in Aries until October 28th. And this is exciting because 8th house deals with collaborations with others and the resources of others. So you can expect benefits coming to you from people in your network. This retrograde happening at the same time as Jupiter enters your 8th house might require you to be more adaptable and to perhaps learn to let other people help you. I know as a Virgo rising, it might be really hard to let go of control, but you're definitely rethinking, you know, how to reach your goals. And it's quite likely that working with others is the answer. On May 15th, Sun will square Saturn. So Sun is in your 9th house, Saturn is in your 6th house. And you may need to overcome some kind of challenge connected to your education, travel, legal matters, working with foreigners, There might be difficulties connected to travel. There might be a need to have a tough conversation. It might be, you know, it might be like, yes, you're studying or you're becoming a teacher, but in order to become one, you need to file like a really long paperwork, and it feels frustrating and unnecessary. But if you're persevering, if you're sticking to it, you can reach your goals. On May 16th, we have a pretty challenging lunar eclipse in Scorpio. It's happening in your 3rd house, and it's squaring Saturn in the 6th. So lunar eclipse in Scorpio can bring tough emotions connected to siblings. Maybe, you know, maybe there's certain drama, certain things you haven't addressed, and it's siblings, but it's also sibling-like figures. So any friends that you are close with, as you are with your siblings, there's a need to talk. There's a need to face feelings of maybe feeling like inferior or unable to express yourself. You know, 3rd house, the moon in the 3rd, the eclipse, like tough emotions connected to communication, not saying what you truly feel, fears around standing up for yourself, expressing your ideas, self-doubt. Allow yourself to cry, allow yourself to feel things. They could be very healing. On May 20th, Sun will enter Gemini, your 10th house, and then on May 21st, it's going to conjoin Mercury. A wonderful time of getting insights, getting good news professionally, figuring out your strategy, and becoming more clear about the path you want to take. May 24th, Mars enters Aries, your 8th house, and it's going to stay there until July 5th. And Mars will conjoin Jupiter on May 29th. 8th house is the place of other people, their resources, their money. So you get more energy to hustle and to connect with other people, to work with other people, to find clients, to get loans, to just work in collaboration with others and to ask other people for resources. And that conjunction with Jupiter on May 29th can be very crucial when it comes to that, and like significant turning point. On May 27th, Venus in the 8th house will square Pluto in the 5th house. And you get the test and kind of conflict between your desire to your professional goals versus your relationship is possible here. Your style of managing resources versus your partner's style of managing resources. You may need to proceed with care and also just kind of question how much do you desire, what you truly desire, and what's the better way to compromise. And watch out for relationship conflicts. There definitely might be a touch of drama. For Libra risings, my lovely Libra risings, the Sun is in the 8th house until May 20th. We just had a solar eclipse in your 8th house. So maybe you're starting collaborations. Personally, as a Libra rising, I just recorded my first joint YouTube video with Rux of Written by the Stars. So I am definitely on the path of starting collaborations. So Sun in the 8th, you may be getting a loan, and maybe, the solar eclipse would have been about joining forces with others, making big purchases, getting loans, paying off debts, kind of setting yourself off on the journey towards financial stability. And so most of the month is basically about reaching that. So you're like very focused on your professional goals, so your financial goals. A really exciting transit begins on May 10th with Jupiter entering your 7th house. Jupiter enters Aries. 7th house for you is Aries, and 7th house deals with partnerships and collaborations and relationships. So Jupiter in the 7th is just do it. So if you've been pondering starting a business, if you've been debating about dating someone, you might just feel like, okay, stop being afraid and just go for it. So it's an exciting time, and Jupiter will stay in Aries until October 28th. Let me know where you can use that Jupiterian energy if you are a Libra rising in the comments below. But yeah, like you will feel inspired to do more, to go for more. However, at the same time as Jupiter enters Aries on May 10th, Mercury also goes retrograde. And this is a little bit of like, okay, you want to start a business. Okay, you want to start dating. But first, address some of your fears. Look at the way you approach things. Look at your strategy. Maybe you need to... Mercury stations retrograde in your 9th house and then backs into the 8th house. Maybe you need some knowledge, or if you're becoming a teacher, let's say you're starting a business and starting to teach classes, maybe you need to take like a course or read up on being a teacher. So you kind of want to be like, you want to freshen up on your direction, on your education. Maybe there's certain legal matters that need addressing, right? Like if you're starting a business, you need to form an LLC and you need to figure out a lot of that stuff. And what's interesting too is like Mercury goes from your 9th into the 8th. So there's also a possibility that like legal matters or things that you forgot about that you're like refreshing on are connected to like bills that you have to pay. So there might be certain bills that you forgot to pay. But overall, definitely an exciting time, I would say. On May 15th, Sun in the 8th house will square Saturn in your 5th house. And this is kind of a testing time. The things you're trying to pursue may require longer work. They may require going back and fixing something. Your collaboration, if you are working on a creative collaboration, may run into an issue. There might be certain challenges, delays. Let's say you're also waiting for someone to pay you before you get that mortgage, and there might be things you need to adapt to. There might be things you need to wait for. But be patient, be kind of persevering. Matters connected to children might require your attention too, and might be the source of delays and challenges. On May 16th, we have a tricky lunar eclipse in Scorpio, tough for all of us. For you, it's happening in the 2nd house and it's squaring Saturn in the 5th house. Fears and issues around money, fears and challenges around self-worth. Do you feel worthy of all the abundance that might be coming to you? Do you feel... Are you open to trusting? Are you open to allowing other person to carry some of the weight and being vulnerable with them? So that could involve relationships, but that could also mean business partnerships, right? Like if you have that tendency to be self-reliant and take care of things on your own, this might be the time when you're like facing some of those things. And also, yeah, like questions about money. If you're spending things on something, if you're making a major investment, maybe you need to kind of, you know, trust that the money will come back versus trying to hold on to it. Because Scorpio is quiet, right? And protective. And if you're a Libra rising, in whole sign, you have Scorpio is your 2nd house. So you're likely protective about your resources. You're likely enjoying to hold on to them and not tell anyone about it. So there might be a need to release a little bit of that, and also maybe work with fears connected to the lack of resources or the lack of self-worth that you may have grown up with. Tough stuff, important stuff though, stuff that you need to work on. On May 20th, Sun will enter Gemini, your 9th house, and it's going to conjoin Mercury on May 21st. So exciting things connected to education, teaching, travel. Funny, when I was like writing this horoscope as a Libra rising, I was like, I need to travel. It's a good time to travel. And it kind of is. Sun goes into Gemini and you desire to expand your world. And that could be travel by watching a documentary, or actual travel, or, you know, studying and traveling with your mind, expanding your mind. Reading about philosophy, religion might be quite enjoyable at this time too. On May 24th, Mars will enter Aries, your 7th house. Mars will stay there until July 5th and is going to conjoin Jupiter, a really big transit, on May 29th. Mars in the 7th could be combative when it comes to relationships. very competitive when it comes to business and relationships too. Like this would be a lovely time to go on an active date. It's kind of setting your relationship sector on fire. Maybe you're going on dates and dating like 5 people every week or 10 people. Don't go too crazy because it's Aries energy, you know, quick to start, sometimes really tired and needs to take a break. But it's a lovely time to date, to seek clients, to start a business, to like initiate things that require your personal initiative, but likely that also deal with other people. On May 27th, Venus in the 7th house will square Pluto in your 4th, and there might be certain relationship difficulties connected to your family karma. Are you dating someone, but you are afraid to tell them about your parents abandoning you or something? Are you creating an image of everything is fine while in reality maybe you're freaking out? Are you struggling financially but you're not telling it to them? So how important is it for you to show up as this I got it all Venus and Aries character, right? And how much more rewarding it could be to open up and share and be honest and tell them about how you truly feel. If you are honest with yourself and with your partner, it can actually bring you closer. And if you are not in a relationship, this might also be connected with your business and your professional pursuits, and maybe also just asking whether it's worth it and whether you need to take a break and, you know, take care of yourself. For Scorpio risings, the sun spends most of the month in your 7th house until May 20th, and we just had a solar eclipse in your 7th house, so new beginnings connected to relationships, new collaborations, getting married, getting pregnant, dating, right, getting engaged, all the good stuff, signing contracts. So the sun being in your 7th house highlights that, and the solar eclipse highlights that even more. Like there's a desire, the solar eclipse conjoined Uranus, and you really desire to break away from the old and to revolutionize your relationships somehow. You know, a very simple way, by having a baby. Having a baby! May 10th is an important day. Jupiter will enter Aries, your 6th house, and it will stay there until October 28th. And this gives you a lot of good vibes when it comes to health. You may spend a lot of time going to the doctor, getting tested. This is like if you wanted to have a child, this is likely an indicator that your health will be really good. Or if you wanted to freeze your eggs, for example, this could be the time. You're also very active. You're very much just do it. And this could affect your professional life as well, where you are taking on more. It might be a lot of work. 6th house tends to be very laborious. Is that a word? I think it's a word. But it's enjoyable because you feel like it serves your purpose. At the same time, Mercury stations retrograde in your 8th house on May 10th and goes in retrograde, lasts until June 3rd. And then Mercury kind of slowly backs into the 7th house and returns to Taurus on May 22nd. So all of these things that you're excited about, all of the relationship things, all of the professional things will need to be approached with care and patience and slowness. You may need to have certain conversations that aren't easy to talk about, right? Okay, you want to get pregnant, but is your partner ready to support you financially when you're pregnant and you're taking time off? Do you feel like you want to stay home with a child for 2 years? Do they have enough money? There could be certain miscommunications you have with your partner about, you know, even home duties. So like there might be a need to talk about things that will free up your space to pursue things that you are interested in professionally. So certain things you need to talk about and certain strategies that you need to readjust. There might be also changes happening in your partner's finances at this time. On May 15th, Sun in the 7th is going to square Saturn in the 4th. This is a bit of a repeat of 2021 transits. February 17th, June 14th, December 24th. We had Uranus square Saturn in your 4th house. So this could mean And this like rolls right into the eclipse on May 16th. So conflicts between your relationship and your family, your partner and your view of your home and your view of the family and, you know, commitment. It's a testing time. It's a time that will be kind of like a pressure cooker a little bit. Like you will need to pay attention to things and kind of have honest conversations and persevere and try to find compromise. The lunar eclipse in Scorpio on the 16th is happening in your first house and it squares Saturn in the 4th. This could be a testing. This is kind of like a continuation of the 15th, right? Like you are letting go of something that is just your own. You're letting go of an old version of yourself. You may be facing fears connected to independence. You may be, if it is pregnancy, right? If you have no desire to get pregnant in your Scorpio rising, perhaps it's like a creative project, right? Or it's a business opportunity, or it's marriage. Like just put your replace baby with that personal thing. But whatever it is, you know, if it is a child, like your body might be changing. If it is a health question, like you maybe are letting go, maybe you're like don't eat sugar anymore. Like there's certain things that you're facing, certain fears you're facing that may be emotionally challenging. So try to find compromise, try to kind of like face fears, and be honest with yourself. Be honest with like what you're truly feeling and where it's coming from. On May 20th, Sun will enter Gemini, your 8th house, and is going to conjoin Mercury on May 21st. Getting insights about these topics of give and take, about the resources you share with others, getting good news when it comes to money someone owes you, or getting good news about loans and mortgage payments or any kind of debts that you have. Maybe you get a tax return. There's definitely a possibility, or your partner hears good news about his or her finances. On May 24th, Mars will enter Aries, to your 6th house. Mars rejoices in the 6th house, and Mars will stay there until July 5th. A big transit is May 29th, when Mars conjoins Jupiter. Mars is happy in the 6th because there is a lot to do. So this is likely setting up your daily life on fire even more. You're initiating new things, you're starting new projects, you're investing a lot of time in your well-being. Maybe you're working out or changing your diet, taking action, right? Like freezing your eggs, doing things to bring like better physical and professional kind of being balance, finding more balance. On May 26th, Venus in the 6th house will square Pluto in the 3rd. So there might be certain issues, certain tensions between your desires, your work, your time, and maybe what other people expect of you, perhaps siblings, perhaps your family members. There might be certain communication difficulties or needing to address certain things that haven't been addressed. And maybe you're dealing with just the overwhelm or taking on too much. So this could be a lovely time to try and, you know, smooth out your schedule, let go of things that are not important to you. Moving on to Sag rising, for most of the month, Sun is in your 6th house until May 20th. We just had a solar eclipse in your 6th house, so there might be new professional beginnings. There might be changes to your diet, your exercise, you're taking better care of your health, you're committing to your physical well-being, and most of the month is very much about that. Like, could be professional, right? Looking for a new job, could be physical, taking care of your health, starting a new diet, all of that stuff. On May 10th, Jupiter will enter Aries, your 5th house, and Jupiter will stay there until October 28th. And this is exciting. Jupiter is very much like in Aries, it's very much just do it, no time to waste, I'm ready. Very masculine, very brush, very quick. So your sector connected to romance, creativity, fun, children gets a boost. So this might be the time when you feel extra creative, You may begin new relationships. You may start trying for a child or commit to having more fun and more creativity. However, at the same time, Mercury stations retrograde in your 7th house, and the retrograde lasts until June 3rd. Mercury in the 7th retrogrades into your 6th eventually on May 22nd. So whatever it is you are excited about, if it's relationships, if it's pregnancy, if it's creative things, with Mercury retrograde, it's likely you're going to have to rethink your approach to things. For example, you never thought that you would date someone who lives in a different state. But then you meet someone and it seems so great and you feel so confident and happy and safe with them that now you're like rethinking that, right? And Mercury retrogrades back into the 6th house. So you're sort of asking yourself, how can you address all of these practical questions in order to make the relationship last? And you're encouraged to look at things from a different perspective. There might also be quite literal topics in a relationship, if you are in an existing relationship, that you have to address, as far as like who does the dishes and who takes out the trash, in order to find more freedom and more space to pursue things that make you happy. Because 5th house, Jupiter there might also just be about having more joy, going on more dates. On May 15th, Sun in your 6th house is going to square Saturn in the 3rd, and this might be a testing time. This might be the time of having tough conversations, maybe dealing with work issues, maybe feeling like you don't have the time to take care of yourself because you have all these things and all these responsibilities and busy schedule taking care of others. So this is the time that your goals get tested and you are encouraged to persevere and to stay the course, but maybe find ways to release something and to compromise and let go of certain pursuits. We have a challenging lunar eclipse in Scorpio, your 12th house, squaring Saturn in the 3rd on May 16th. Lunar eclipse in the 12th house in Scorpio may feel... There might be a sense of anxiety because 12th house is hard to put into words. 12th house is a very mysterious place that we don't really see. We may struggle to understand. It's the hidden house. It doesn't make any aspect to the ascendant. So topics of the 12th are often hidden from ourselves. So you will be dealing with self-sabotage issues, right? Like you're so interested in your health and taking better care of yourself and new professional beginnings. But what about your mental health? What about your past traumas? What about self-sabotaging things you tell yourself? Are you your biggest ally? Do you need to start seeing a therapist? Like what can you do to release some of the past traumas, right? You may have experienced some challenging events last year even. So focusing on your well-being, focusing on your mental health, taking some time away, retreating, not over stressing yourself at this time are some of the, the advice that I would give you. On May 20th, Sun enters Gemini, your 7th house, and it conjoins Mercury on May 21st. This is an exciting time in relationships. You may get more clarity, especially Mercury conjoining the Sun on the 21st. Could be the time for like honest, eye-opening conversations, changes in the life of your partner, and some exciting new beginnings when it comes to relationships. On May 24th, Mars will enter Aries, your 5th house, and Mars will stay here until July 5th. It's going to conjoin Jupiter on May 29th. You get a huge boost of energy and a lot more desire to partner up, to date, to create, and to procreate. So this will be a lovely time to even take any dance classes or revive any older hobbies and try to find more fun in life. Be careful of like having too much physical energy and not expressing it. You're better off expressing it through sex or exercise or dance, anything like that. May 27th can be tricky. Venus in the 5th house is going to square Pluto in your 2nd house. And Venus in the 5th is very relationship oriented, very much, I want to have my fun, I want to have it now. And Pluto in the second, or, you know, Venus in the fifth might be like, this is my creative vision, or like, I want to have a child. And then Pluto in the second will test your determination and may bring up certain issues connected to money, your self-worth, whether you feel secure enough, whether you feel worthy of the things that you desire. And there might be certain conflicts with your partner because of that or connected to that. So be careful around May 27th. For Capricorn rising, Sun spends most of the month in your 5th house until May 20th, and we just had a solar eclipse there on April 30th. So for you, the major theme of May is new creative beginnings, topics connected with children, sending kids to school, getting pregnant, romantic relationships, maybe starting a new relationship, maybe moving a relationship to the next level. So you are, with the solar eclipse, you're very much focused on personal joy and personal satisfaction, right? So you're trying to find balance and trying to fulfill your inner sensual queen or king. And a lot of the energy of the month is basically that. May 10th is a really big date. Jupiter moves into Aries, your 4th house, where Jupiter will stay until October 28th. This is major because Jupiter in Aries is very much a go-getter, very active, direct energy. And 4th house is the house of home and family. So you may experience a desire to buy a home, invest into a home, renovate, connect with family, start a family. There's like a strong pull towards getting rooted. Moving is a possibility too, like moving, going far away to a new country or a new town, or even just a different apartment is a possibility. At the same time, Mercury stations retrograde on May 10th, and the retrograde is going to last until June 3rd. So it stations retrograde in your 6th house, and then it goes back into the 5th. So whatever you are excited about, you know, with the Sun in the 5th house, whether it is writing a new movie or starting a new job or getting pregnant, you need to look at your health. You need to look at your schedule. Do you have the time? Do you have the space? Do you need to declutter? If it is 5th house dealing with simple joy and dating, do you need to rearrange your schedule? Do you need to let go of certain things? So there might be a need to declutter your mind and your space in order to reach the goals of both Jupiter connected to home and family, and the solar eclipse connected to children or creativity, joy, romance, all of that stuff. On May 15th, Sun in the 5th house will square Saturn in the 2nd house, and your desires get tested against your financial well-being. Do you have enough money? If you needed to take time off to become a parent, are you ready for that? Do you have enough set apart? Or if not, maybe it's the time to start a budget. You may have to balance a little bit between needing to work for income and needing and wanting to have freedom to pursue your creative things. So it could be a little bit tricky. You could be questioning whether you're ready for this. But if you persevere, if you stay course, Saturn really wants you to work hard, you will likely find happiness and success. On May 16th, we get a pretty tough lunar eclipse in Scorpio, your 11th house, and it's going to square Saturn in the 2nd. So with all of this focus on creativity, romance, children, there might be a certain crisis in your public life that will require your attention, will take you away from it. There might be a friendship that will need your attention, a certain drama in the life of a friend that you will be called to address. It might be as simple as like letting go of the certain view of reality, like if it is a creative project, right? And you see yourself as the lead in the movie. Maybe this lunar eclipse in the 11th house will ask you to readjust your vision, and maybe you get the film made, but you're not a lead, but you're still getting to see your baby birth. So there might be certain things that you have to like reassess, or even as simple as like if you do get pregnant, let's say, Maybe you'll have to take some time off from reaching your goals, and you'll have to like readjust when it comes to that. So certain fears, certain relationship, friendship issues are possible, and a need to maybe let go of some of your expectations for yourself and for others. May 20th, Sun enters Gemini, your 6th house, and is going to conjoin Mercury on May 21st. Sun in the 6th house is lovely for improving your health, taking better care of yourself, focusing on your diet, exercise, serving others, and also kind of decluttering and creating more space. There might be an insight about the way in which you can better your health with Mercury Cazimi. So, and also maybe just like a different way of solving problems, insights about a better way of reaching your goals. On May 24th, Mars will enter Aries, your 4th house, where Mars will stay until July 5th, and is going to conjoin Jupiter on May 29th. There's a lot of action in the sector of home, family, land, property. So you feel inspired to act. There might be more action in the home. Maybe you suddenly get your entire family involved in renovating, and now everyone is just like, you know, painting walls and fixing doors and doing stuff like that. There might be more active games. There might be, maybe you're moving, buying, selling a home, turning a room in your home into a studio or a nursery. Definitely a lot of possibilities there. On May 27th, Venus in your 4th house will square Pluto in the 1st. And that might be tough. That might bring up certain issues in the home. How far are you, how obsessed you are with your idea of what you're trying to accomplish, because Venus is in Aries at the time. And Venus is very passionate in Aries and very impulsive and reckless sometimes. So there might be certain drama connected to home, family, and your goals, and like something you need to address, something you need to face, and try to stay flexible. That's the advice of this video. For Aqua rising, Sun spends most of the month until May 20th in your 4th house in Taurus, and there just was a solar eclipse in Taurus in your 4th house. So there are new beginnings in the home and family. You are really focused on maybe starting a family, maybe moving to a new place, buying, selling, renovating. There's a lot of focus on nesting. I just did a reading today for someone who had the child when she was in her, actually it was her nodal return, and the North Node was in the house of home and family. So a lot of focus on connecting with a family, starting a family. And this is the theme of the month. You will have to deal with certain challenges in the middle of the month, but it's kind of like encouraged to be patient and to maybe be flexible when it comes to the end result. On May 10th, Jupiter enters Aries, your 3rd house, and it stays there until October 28th. So it's pretty exciting. Jupiter will be in your 3rd house. 3rd house deals with the realm of idea, communication, schedule, technology, skills, hobbies. So few possibilities, right? Like your mind might get stronger. You might get a lot of ideas, including starting a blog, including becoming a teacher or learning something new. You may need to upgrade your technology. You may find a job that will require taking more trips. You may get excited about exploring your neighborhood. There's a lot of interesting possibilities. At the same time, Mercury will station retrograde in your 5th house on May 10th, and it will stay there until, it will go retrograde until June 3rd. So Mercury retrograde starts in the 5th and goes into the 4th, and you're kind of required to be more careful in the way you approach things. Yes, Jupiter in the 3rd is very excited, and there might be a desire to use your skills, to make money using your skills, to express yourself. But Mercury stationing retrograde in the 5th might feel like, well, what inspires me? And maybe there is a question of like rethinking your goals, rethinking inspiration, rethinking joy. Mercury does back into your 4th house, so the answers might lie into looking what inspired you as a kid. And maybe the things that you start with the Jupiter being in your 3rd house deal with a little bit of that. Satisfy your inner child, give them some attention. May 15th, Sun in the 4th will square Saturn in the 1st, and you may deal with challenges connected to home and family. There might be certain family karma and responsibilities that you have to take, and perhaps your personal goals get kind of checked against your family, or your goals when it comes to family get tested against your personal aspirations. So you will need to find balance between what you're trying to accomplish on your own professionally and what's happening with your family. Maybe, you know, you get offered a job that takes you away from your home while you are trying to start like a life together with someone. So might be the time when, or you're trying to move, right? Like you were so set on moving and now you get a job offer and you cannot really move. So there might be some hurdles to overcome, some tough decisions to make. Be patient and try to compromise, because that's what Saturn is about. On May 16th, we have a tough lunar eclipse in Scorpio. It's happening in your 10th house and it squares Saturn in your 1st. All of this attention, all of the excitement connected to home and family, this eclipse calls your attention to your work. And there might be certain professional things that you have to face, certain drama, certain like tensions in your career, and also big questions of like whether you're happy with where you are, whether you enjoy what you're doing, and maybe addressing certain fears about letting go of that and venturing into something brand new. You're finding balance between, you know, the home and family and new beginnings there, and also your professional aspirations. Don't make any major decisions. Don't like quit your job if you don't feel ready for it. But this might be the beginning of kind of trying to balance career and home life and trying to find compromise when it comes to that. On May 20th, Sun enters your 5th house and it conjoins Mercury on May 21st. This can bring insights, new beginnings when it comes to romance, creativity, children. Maybe you find a source of inspiration. Maybe you kind of connect with someone. This could also be very much like Mercury retrograde in the 5th house. Could mean someone from your past coming into your life, like a past fling or a past relationship. So this could be a part of that, where maybe you get some kind of insight about that past relationship, or you just understand what drives you more and what's worth pursuing, what's not worth pursuing. On May 24th, Mars enters Aries, your 3rd house, where Mars will stay until July 5th, and it's going to conjoin Jupiter on May 29th. Mars in the 3rd speeds up your schedule. Watch out for driving too fast. Watch out for running around and like, you know, accidentally stumbling and falling down. Just try to breathe and proceed with care, because Mars is here for a while, you know, until July 5th, long time. But your mind speeds up. There might be more ideas. There might be more desire to sell your ideas, to write something, to present your skills to other people, to start that blog, to invest into technology. But Mercury is still retrograde, so you want to be careful. You want to like be thoughtful about things that you are pursuing. And finally, the last transit I'm going to cover in this video for Aquarius is on May 27th. Venus in the 3rd house will square Pluto in your 12th house. And this is kind of a little bit of a tough time of, you know, things that you are excited about, things that you are pursuing. Are they making you happy? Are they yours? Or are they like maybe, you know, inherited from someone else? There might be drama connected to siblings. There might be issues in communication, things you need to address in order to move forward. Maybe, you know, talk to your brother about putting his stuff in your room or have like a conversation with your neighbor about something. So there might also be questions of self-sabotage and the doubts that you have in reaching your goals. How are you standing in your own way? And what do you need to let go of? Where do you need to be more honest, more patient in order to reach your goals? Finally, if you are a Pisces rising, then the sun spends most of the month in your 3rd house until May 20th. And we're coming into this month fresh from the solar eclipse in Taurus. So third house is where you're planting the seeds, and there's major new beginnings in your third house. And this can span over a few different things, right? Like Jupiter would have been and still is until May 10th in your first house. So you may have been reinventing yourself. And this solar eclipse is bringing changes to your daily life, your schedule. Maybe you're becoming a teacher, maybe you're becoming more involved with your neighborhood, maybe you're taking more trips, starting a job that requires you to drive around. Something is changing in the way you present yourself. You're sharing your knowledge, you're kind of like embracing a new role, right? And this month is very much about that, but there will be some tough times, some things you'll have to let go, and some things that you will have to adapt to. So don't get stuck on your idea of the way that things should be. May 10th is kind of a turning point. We have Jupiter leaves your first house and goes into your second house, so until October 28th, and this is quite exciting for your finances. There might be new opportunities to make money. You're likely to be more competitive. You're likely to take on some kind of job that requires, meeting clients, hustling, and interacting with more people. You're creating your own opportunities. You're kind of more aggressive when it comes to money-making opportunities, looking for a sense of validation as well. At the same time, Mercury also stations retrograde in your fourth house, and Mercury is retrograde until June 3rd. And then Mercury slowly backs into the third house. So while you are venturing on this new adventure we call life, there is certain things in the home and family that you need to address. Your attention goes towards home matters. Maybe you are refinancing your mortgage. Maybe you are fixing up your home. Maybe you're moving closer to a new job. There's a need to be kind of careful and proceed with care and not rush into things, because perhaps, the way you see your future will require a certain adjustment from your space, from your home. There might, it's also like if you are like refinancing, Mercury goes from the fourth into the third, and maybe your goals with your home require you to reach out to like a neighbor for help, or reach out to your local city hall. I don't know how that works out, but like maybe you need to go and get documentation, some kind of approval, like if you're building a pool in your house. On May 15th, Sun in the third house will square Saturn in your 12th house. And if you have been dealing with some kind of challenge, things being out of your control, like, maybe being involved in like a legal battle with someone, or struggling to free yourself from some past karma, like maybe your partner has been struggling with something and you're kind of like caught in that, there might be a need to address some of that around May 15th. There might be like, a turning point when it comes to finding your freedom and pursuing all of these things. But first, you're going to have to look at your psyche. You're going to have to look at the things that are standing in your way and things that maybe you're not looking at, because Saturn in the 12th is very much what's in your blind spot, what's preventing you from reaching your fullest potential. Are you afraid of not having enough money and you're choosing a job that will make you money versus choosing the job that makes you happy? So questions like that might be important. On May 16th, we have a tricky lunar eclipse in Scorpio. It's happening in your 9th house, and it's squaring Saturn in your 12th house. My notes are incorrect. Have to fix it now. So lunar eclipse in the 9th house can bring certain crises of faith. Maybe it's as literal as like, you don't know what's worth believing, and you're just like struggling to believe that the universe is on your side. So maybe if you are like a lawyer, for example, maybe you're feeling unsatisfied with your legal career. As a teacher, you may feel a little bit frustrated and like, ready to toss it all aside. You may have to deal with like fears of you know, becoming a teacher, for example, taking on some kind of more important role, and maybe questioning, do you see yourself as the lead character, or do you struggle with that? How can you change your beliefs? Like, what kind of mantras and affirmations can you start telling yourself in order to get you to where you want to go? Could be emotional, could require you to let go of something, you know, some kind of like pursuit, legal matter, might end, might wrap up. Like, you may publish your work that you've been working on for a while and now feel a sense of what's next. So a few things, and even travel matters can resolve somehow, or there might be challenges connected to travel, like you really want to go, but you're not able to do it because of a certain issue. On May 20th, Sun enters Gemini, your 4th house, and it conjoins Mercury on May 21st. There might be exciting news when it comes to your home and family, some kind of pivot, change. You know, you find out that your property got sold, or you decide to move, or something interesting can be happening in the home. And May 24th, Mars will enter Aries, your 2nd house. Mars will stay there until July 5th. And a really big transit is Mars conjoining Jupiter on May 29th. So this is like a very fiery, let's be competitive, let's make all the money, let's sell all the t-shirts, if that's what you do. Could be a great time to make money, basically, to set yourself on fire. Watch out for overdoing it, because as always, Mars, Jupiter can be a bit out of control. And finally, on May 27th, Venus in the 2nd will square Pluto in the 11th. Financial challenges, financial arguments, arguments about money with people in your life are possible, with friends or people who are like associates somehow. Your values may get tested against the good of all and things that better others, and maybe you will feel a little bit frustrated and a little bit uncertain, and also just will need to question, will need to look at things you're pursuing and be like, is this mine, or why am I so obsessive about it? And maybe make slight adjustments. Maybe, you know, you're aspiring to make $1 million, but you realize that it's not gonna help the world, and you're just like, okay, I'll donate some of my money, I'll give some of my money. But be careful of, like, you know, getting into fights about money. And this is it. We have circled the zodiac and talked about all 12 signs. Let me know if this resonated. Thank you for watching and listening. Say hi in the comments below, and have a lovely month of May. Talk soon. Bye.